In the last of this mini-series, filmed for The Telegraph, we look at hacks for one of the trickiest garden tasks, summer watering.
I am very mean with my watering, and I think that is because here we do not have any mains water. We just have our own spring water, which is great. But when we first came, for the first 25 odd years, I was just worried that it might stop completely in a dry summer. So I was really, really cautious. Now I've discovered it's actually the pump that was faulty. The supply is fabulous, so I could water much, much more. But I still have that sort of mean attitude. It's sort of instilled into me now, I think. But having said that, I think watering is one of the most tricky aspects of gardening. And generally, people will just splash on a bit of water on the leaves and take the can away. And what they don't realise is just by wetting the leaves, the water just sits and makes the soil look wet, but actually it's only gone into the very, very top millimetre or so. And so if you do that frequently, just that very top bit of soil is wet, then the roots will grow up to the moisture rather than going down, and you want those roots to go really down. So you must remember, if you're going to water, don't water too frequently and water decent quantities. So having said that, obviously there are crops that you do need to water, and there are certain really thirsty crops, things like tomatoes, celery, cauliflower, courgettes. They all really need quite a bit of moisture to keep going. And with something like celery, some people will water it daily or at least weekly. And so if you want to grow celery well, I think you need to do that. Then with something like tomatoes, the thing is, with any plant that is fruiting and flowering, they will, as soon as they start fruiting and flowering, they stop their root growth. And so what happens is if it's very dry, normally a root would go out to find new water, but if it's very dry in the fruiting or flowering, they won't, so they will suffer. So whenever a plant is fruiting or flowering, just watch it carefully, and as soon as you see any signs of even slight distress, then go and water them. Now with my tomatoes, I only water my ones in my greenhouse probably about once a week, and that is because I use capillary matting. And I've got two samples here. This is an expensive capillary matting. That's the side that goes on the bench, and then that's the side that sits up on the top. And that's more expensive, and it lasts a lot longer than the cheaper version, which is made from shoddy, I think, old clothes and things, which lasts 2-3 years, something like that. But the reasons these work is that they actually hold all the water, so the plant roots can go down and draw it up from a much bigger surface area. And I find that invaluable. If I've got pot plants that I haven't planted into the garden, I will often put on a bench or outside and put them on some capillary matting, and they grow much better. The root system will go all through the pot rather than just straight down to the bottom and around the edges, which they normally do when you grow plants in pots. So there are some crops that you just don't really need to water at all, and onions, even to get those lovely big onions and sprouts. The other thing that's really critical of watering is, as I said before, don't put too little on. So whenever you're watering vegetables, I would never do less than 2 gallons per square yard. And a normal big size can, not that one here, but a normal big size can usually holds 2 gallons. And it's worth seeing that. And obviously, it takes account of how much moisture that's come from the sky as to whether you need to water, how good your soil is, because if you've got really moisture retentive soil, then you'll need to water less. And if you want to reduce your watering, obviously if you water in early spring and then you put a good mulch on, you will keep the moisture in the soil. So those are all good tips. If you are a massive overwater and you're really splashing it on, you're going to get bigger crops, but you probably will have a lot less flavour. And why are we growing homegrown? We're growing it for the flavour, aren't we? Because it's so different. So it seems a little bit counterproductive to go and make it so flavourless by chucking on loads more water. And they have less nutrients in them too if you overwater. Someone actually submitted a question in advance on watering, and that's a very common query that people have, is do I water in the morning or do I water in the evening? Now, there are different schools of thought on this, but generally I like to water in the evening, because I think then the water really soaks into the soil and it lasts there longer. It goes perhaps a little bit deeper, and then the plant can draw on it. Whereas if it's the morning and it's going to be a hot day, it doesn't seem to, the plant can't enjoy the moisture for so long either. So generally I always say in the evening. The other thing that people often do is when they're water seedlings, which obviously are quite delicate. They've got nice tender little shoots and cotyledons, the seed leaves. And so you really don't want to be splashing water on them any old how. You want a lovely fine mist. And so for this, I tend to use this can here. And this has got a fine rose on it. And the rose, if you can see the fine, lovely fine rose there, and the rose is actually facing upwards. Again, counterintuitive, it's not facing down. And imagine I had my seed trays out on the ground in front of me here, I would start watering, nice fine mist, and then I pull it over the trays. So I'll just do it nice and thoroughly and regularly over the trays, so you're not actually doing it. And then before it runs out, you make sure you move it off and then you lift it up. And that's a very simple technique, but I tell you, it's loads better than daubing a load of water in the wrong place. Well, I think we've just come to the end of this first session of gardening hacks. I really hope you've enjoyed it.
There's another trio of gardening hacks coming soon, with lots of ideas on how to make the best of the autumn season.
I'm covering saving lots of money by propagating your own box cuttings, and these are the new blight resistant box cuttings. I'm going to show you all about mixing flowers and vegetables in my shrubbery garden, which I love growing together. And I'm also going to be telling you about moving plants and shrubs. It's a brilliant time of year to plant bare root and root ball plants, and they get away to a really good start. So I do hope you will tune in there.